distinctive and advantageous for many people is the fact that schooling can be done at your own pace. Schooling can be done at the time of day that's best suited for you and your children. However, there really are some drawbacks that one should consider, not ones that are insurmountable, but things that you need to figure out before you get started so that you have a better chance of success. Right now I'm sitting in my living room, and some of my homeschooling took place in my living room, especially when we made use of videos or if we were listening to music or something that we were reading aloud as a family. This was a good place to do it. There's a lot of natural light here, and it's comfortable and it accommodates a lot of people. Other times we'd go into the kitchen area where my children would work on their math or things that were what I would call seat work, and that allowed me to do other things around the house like the laundry and things in the kitchen where I could supervise what they had to do. And because we had a whiteboard in the kitchen, it also allowed me to deal with things like math problems that might have been proving difficult, or my favorite, diagramming sentences. A nice big whiteboard made that a lot better than just trying to put their attention on a small piece of paper. So in your house, which is your house and different than my house, it's important to find areas that will be suitable for learning and studying and reading. Now I tried to do very little in the children's bedrooms, although eventually as they got older, that's where they would do a lot of their work because a computer was in that room. But by and large, I'd like to separate out where they would sleep, or possibly when they were younger, where they would play, from where they would do their schoolwork, just to give a variety of places to do things. The other drawback that's possible in homeschool, and my children will attest to this, is that there were times where it was not clearly delineated when schooling started and when schooling was over. So there might be days where it seemed like all we were doing was academic work. Now that's understandable because a lot of times as you're getting new to things, you want to make sure you're dotting every I and crossing every T. However, I found in the long run that proved to be a bit counterproductive because it was difficult then to transition from one thing to another. Think about it. In the adult world, if you're going to a job or you, let's say, run a store, there's a time that store opens and there's a time that store closes. It doesn't go on forever. It's not 24/7. Even a lot of the things today that are 24/7 aren't really 24/7 because one person isn't manning it. So in order to not get into that bad habit, it's good to say, on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, our schooling will go from 9 in the morning till 12 at noon. Or, because we're doing something in the mornings on those days, your schooling will be from 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock. However you choose to do it, and one of the things that most homeschool families realize is that you don't have to do it the entire day. You can get well-focused, concentrated time because you really don't have to put in the same number of hours because you don't have to do homework when you homeschool, because that learning time and what normally would be considered homework time pretty much happens at the same time. Now, the other thing you should keep in mind is that it's very easy, as being the woman of the house, to have other things that distract you. And as I said before, sometimes it's appropriate for you to load the dishwasher or unload the dishwasher or sort your laundry while your children are doing things that don't require your immediate attention. But I wholeheartedly recommend that you have an answering machine and that you discipline yourself not to take calls during the point at which that you're working with your children. If you want them to have a sense of importance on what they're doing, you have to give it an equal amount of importance. It can't be like, well, I'm going to go talk to my sister about something and I'll get back to you later. Pretty soon they'll start daydreaming, they won't put a concentration on what they're doing. So set boundaries for yourself. I know if I failed in one area, it was expecting my children to do something that I wasn't doing myself. I would tell them, this is when I want you to have this assignment done by, but I didn't give myself at the outset the same discipline that said, schooling's going to start at this time and we're going to go until this time. Now sure, there are days that you have to do things slightly differently. If a child is struggling, I'm a very strong proponent that you don't end on a frowny face or you don't end on a failure. If you've introduced a concept that's difficult, okay, recognize that it might take a number of times, or there'll be more times you'll have to visit this subject. That's fine, but then go back to something the child or the student is doing well so that there isn't a dread to come back the next day. I can tell you from experience, Having children that cry over their math is not a great testimony to how well things are going. And if you want to avoid problems in the future, try not to get to the point at which you're frustrated, the student is frustrated. If something's difficult, maybe you put it down for a little bit, a day, maybe even a couple of weeks, and find either another approach to that subject, or just put that subject away for a while and concentrate on something else. God fashioned their brains to be able to comprehend the things that we want to teach them. We just have to be willing to be patient and let the student do it at his or her own pace. So find a place that works. Be willing to change up if that doesn't prove to be the most productive setting. And in the long run, you'll see that homeschooling is really not day school, just done at home. It is a learning environment. It's a way in which to incorporate all things into life, but you can't do it without a schedule of some sort.